G'day watchers, welcome to Perth Watch, your horology channel broadcasting from right here in Perth, Western Australia. Today I have a piece from San Martin. So this is back into the cheapo plastic OEM packaging, which actually probably is a 4 out of 5 on the spin rating, but I think I like the kind of round containers better than this. This is a little bit more generic and sticker brand rather than anything else. So a little bit regretful that they sent this to me in this packaging, but it does come with some tools and spare parts and tags and a little bit of a manual. I won't waste your time going to that. Let's just get straight into today's piece here, which is I think unashamedly a Submariner homage, right? This is, I don't know how many of these I've done. This is probably more than a dozen now, but they just keep coming. But hopefully, you find that there's something a bit different to this that is worth your time, at least having a consideration. So this, guys, is of course from San Martin. San Martin do a lot of homages, including of Seiko, but of course of Rolex. Check out my other reviews on their pieces if you will. They do tend to be very popular and highly sought after watches, and certainly the reviews are quite popular. This particular model is I think they call it the Ghost, at least on Amazon they call it the Ghost. Anyway, the model number is SN0017G-B or just B, who really knows. But anyway, it is a little bit of a modification of their previous 0017 model, which is of course also a Rolex homage, and I'll go into a little bit of that as we go along. Okay, so first up, of course, guys, let's talk about the movement. Okay, none other than the NH35A. I'm not going to go into details. You guys probably can recite most of this off the top of your head. But I will say that, typical 3 o'clock date position as per Submariner. And rate of accuracy, you can see that this is performing at about plus 10 seconds per day in the roughly 1 week I've had this in use, which is absolutely fine. That's well within NH35A specs there. Going into the case size, I think again, this is very much a 5-digit sub type of case. Maybe the lugs are a little bit more muscular than original, but you can probably rattle off the size off the top of your head as well. It is classic 40mm case. The bezel, I think it's more like 40.3 with calipers, but hey, look, I think they're intending this to be a 40mm 316L steel case, 13mm thickness, 20mm lug width, and of course a lug distance of 48mm. That's just classic Submariner type of size here. Overall weight, again, not too different to many other types of watches like this, 140 grams with about 3 links that I've removed. So, kind of very, very typical weight for a, steel bracelet watch of this size here. Moving on to finishing there. So you've got a bit of a brush finishing on the bezel there. Of course, that the coin edge has got a bit of polish inside. Long brushing on the top. No, you won't expect anything other than that. Polished sides, again, that's very, very typical. And then circular brushing on the bottom surface of the case there. Also, mainly circular brushing along the case back. And then there's a bit of horizontal or long brushing along that plain case back, which is inspired by none other than Rolex, of course. Plain case backs. Why not give us something more exciting than that? San Martin, a little bit of a missed opportunity. I always lament these kind of plain case specs here. So the screw down boring oyster back with a screw down sign crown here, San Martin logo there, is 200-meter water rating on this watch, which is again very, very typical of all the homages that you get. Some are 300, but I think the vast majority I've seen are 200-meter rated. Moving on to the dial now. Okay, this is of course nothing other than a Submariner dial. I don't think this is a maxi dial. The proportions are not quite, I don't think quite maxi proportions. Maybe they're slightly more than the old 5-digit ones, but it's a gloss black dial, applied logo on the San Martin there, applied indices, of course, 11 positions apart from the date window, It's got printed details for, the chapter ring and the wording at the 6 o'clock position there. That's all pretty typical. And the handset, again, nothing too surprising, is a polished Mercedes handset. And it's got BGW9 on all the usual spots, including the bezel pip. I'll put a loom shot right here for you guys to see how it glows. And the application is pretty good. It does easily glow through the night in my experience, this particular model here. Okay, moving on to the bezel then. All right, so 120 click unidirectional rotating dive style bezel. Of course, you're not going to expect anything else really. Some watches are 90 clicks, maybe some are 60, but 120 is again the most common. And it's got a kind of gloss green ceramic insert around the black dial. And then this is dual tone is the particular model I've chosen. So I think it's pretty cool. You can get the full green Kermit, but I like the dual tone actually. Or maybe not Kermit, Hulk, I think they call it. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right, 120 clicks. It's pretty tinny, I have to say. As in, it's very easy to hear. This fit's not bad. Very little backplay there, so the fit is actually pretty good here. Oops, gone across. I'm just going to leave it there now. Sorry for my viewers who have a bit of OCD about the bezel position, but sorry, you just have to put up with me this time. All right, on top of the dial is a flat sapphire crystal. You're not going to expect anything different, I don't think. And it's got a Cyclops magnifier. And, look at, I want to say, that is, I think, easily one of the best Cyclops. If magnification is an important thing for you, that is one of the best I've seen. That, I think, is more than 2.5 times. That looks like a 3 times magnification. Very much pops out at you, that date. I mean, look at how small the original date is there, and look at what you get. Right, that just stands out to me. Let me know what you think. Is it 3 times? Is it just 2.5? Okay, moving on to the bracelet then. Again, nothing surprising. Okay, it's a full brush, so good on them for doing full brush rather than having some polished elements here. I like that they've done the full brush oyster style bracelet, polished sides. It does have solid end links, but unfortunately they've gone for push pins. Or well, let me know if you think that's a bad thing or not. Some people justify push pins. I think, of course, it's a little bit of a cost cut here, but I forgot to mention the price up the top, $139 on discount. It's pretty astounding, and I kind of understand why they stepped back from the screws to push pins for this particular modification of the model here. Okay, it tapers to 16 millimeters, as you might expect, from 20 at the case here. The clasp itself is 18 millimeters wide, just brush there. It's the typical San Martin, pretty well done, but again, it's not a Rolex style clasp. It's push button release here. No kind of keeper security, just a push button release with 4-point micro adjustment that you can see there. I wish they would provide a glide lock style, as some other homages have done, but this is what they have provided for this model. I don't think they've ever done a glide lock style. Pagani Design do. I wonder how much it would take for them to do that. Okay, so that's the entire description. Let's just slap it on my wrist, and do I really have to show you guys this? You've seen so many of these types of Rolex homages, and that's how it sits. That's how they all sit, right? 40mm Rolex Submariner homage. Right. Pros. What have I liked about this? I think, again, San Martin is excellent at the prices that they sell with. It's a great value package, right? You're getting sapphire, you're getting ceramic, NH35A, you're getting very, very good fit and finish. You're getting a machine clasp, very solid feeling all round, and 200-meter rated. And I really do believe it. I mean, I don't know if you saw that, but you can see that there is, a rubber gasket there, and it does feel very nicely functioning, this crown, the way they've engineered the whole thing. The fit and finish is excellent and better than anything, any sub-homage that I've ever seen under $200, right? I really do feel that. I've reviewed a lot of them, and this is the best feeling one in terms of fit and finish, and just a just how the links sit, how the bezel feels, just overall how this feels in hand. It's very difficult to capture this on camera. You really have to hold it in hand here. Now, I would say the dial is actually great looking. There's something crisp about that as well. There's the sharpness of the printing, I guess the gloss of the dial just seems to stand out a little bit more than some of the other maybe Starburst ones that other brands do. Might be a little bit easier to achieve that. This one just seems to pop that little bit much more. The indices are well done, and I mentioned the Cyclops before. That again really pops out as me as something a bit more than usual. I think the bezel fit is solid, right? It is a bit, I think they could work on reducing the sound. It doesn't have to be that loud, but it feels very solid, very nicely done. And the insert as well appears to be very sharp. There's no bleeding on the printing, on the coloring here. Really nicely finished as well. Any weaknesses, right? Is there any weaknesses there? Ultimately, I guess for all watches like this, it is a homage piece. It is ultimately a copied design, stolen good looks, and some people don't like that. So if you don't like it, of course, you will not be getting a watch like this, because people look at that and firstly they think, is it a Rolex? Maybe not with the dual tone, but no, a lot of people will think, is it a Rolex? And then they realize it's not, it's just a copy. And, I've mentioned this already. It feels like, $139 is stonk in value, absolutely stonk in value, but it does feel like they had to cut down a bit at the back here, the push pins as well as this clasp, which is very standard for St. Martin. I feel like they can take a step up on that and maybe give us a glide lock style next time. Pagani can do it. Yes, Pagani does give a lot of specs, but the fit and finish is nowhere near this. Pagani, I don't think, can hold a candle to St. Martin in that department there. And that's kind of a little bit cutting because you can't capture that on camera very easily. You really only get to feel that in hand there. Everything is looser. This is tight all around. So guys, there we go. My review of this watch. Hopefully you appreciate that. I think it's going to be pretty popular at the discount price of $139. But let's see how they go. And of course, let me know what you think below, especially if you have any experience with St. Martin. Would love to hear from you guys. All right. Thank you guys for sticking with me. Subscribe if you like the videos, and I'll see you next time.